We are fully embracing the holiday spirit with the Fixmas Christmas event because we've got all these candy canes, we've got trees, we've got Santa hats, we've got absolutely everything you could want. And in fact, our doggos are really living it up. I love the fact that they actually look like little tiny Rudolphs. Hey, little guys. How are you doing? You are so cute. My goodness. I wish I were the one that thought to dress them up like this, but I'd always be very... I'd be very, very nervous to try to put this on them. I'm sure they wouldn't like it, but you know what? They seem to be doing just fine. You are also cute. Look at you. You're like, if I could only hook you up to a lovely Santa sled, Look at him go. Oh my God, they're so cute. Holy moly. Well, you know, we've got a lot to cover, so unfortunately, I gotta go. I love this event. It's already really jazzing up the place. There's presents falling from the sky and everything. So I kind of figured, right now you can see in the upper right-hand corner that spatial energy regulation, that's the unlocking of portals, which is going to be huge because after all, we actually have stuff spread out all over the place. We might as well just start out with that. Spatial energy regulation, where we're going to unlock satellite portals, main portals, singularity cells, which I think you feed to portals, and then the ballistic warp drive, which is the elevator part itself. So I'm very, very excited to unlock this. So let's do that.
Milestone reached. Instant travel between chosen locations will be possible as soon as the main and satellite portals are built and paired. Do not ask me how it works. Not because I don't understand dimensional dispersal theory and the cross-warp applications of liminal peer-regulated parallel fibrillator nanocells, for example. But because you do not need to know.
Okay, that makes sense.
You go in one end, you come out the other. It's a door.
I like it.
Thankfully, the construction of project part number 12, the ballistic warp drive, can be automated and requires no manual input from you, so I'd say we're relatively safe. If you disagree about my assessment of your capabilities, you are free to attempt a study and replication of either portal or warp technology after you're done with project assembly.
Ah, okay, there we go. There it is. So when she said, you know what, it's a door, walk through it, we're all going to be safe, I thought she could just kind of end it there, but then she went ahead and tied my potential incompetence into the mix. Well, you know, it's all right, Ada. It's fine. I understand. In the distance, you might see that we actually have two power augmenters, the Summer Sloop power augmenters right here. They're on giant, huge concrete blocks or pillars, right? I've actually set up a couple of power storage blueprint units that I got an idea from the Satisfactory game Reddit, and they look like this. So this is, actually, let's float in the sky so you can see a little bit better. I made this, it's 2 gigawatts, so it's 20 of these batteries inside of a 2-story cell, sort of, with an external hookup, and you just stack them and they charge up, and then I put a alien power augmenter on top, and now we're making 160-ish thousand megawatts or 160 gigawatts, and that includes a 37 gigawatt boost. You can see all of the batteries on the inside, and they're all fully charged. Now we have 10 gigawatt hour or 10,000 megawatt hour worth of storage, so hopefully that's going to kick in and keep us running no matter what. So I love the fact that we can kind of just slam out these blocks. I guess the big thing to note is that it takes a lot of wire, and that's something that I did not realize I needed an abundance of if I want to slam these out all the time. So I just do it every once in a while, and then once I have two, I stick on a Summer Sloop style power augmenter. So really, really like that setup. It makes me feel much safer knowing that these are here and we have a little more overhead to play with. In the distance, way up on top of the rocky desert, there is a uranium node out there, and for the first time I've actually started mining that stuff. So I wanted to do it so I could turn them into like nukes, and on top of that I wanted to work on the MAM research, and one of the things that you gotta do is unlock the nuke Nobelisk. So in order to do that, I needed to do a little bit of prep work, and that included getting some uranium and creating some encased uranium cells. Here we are on top of the rocky desert. You can see so much that we've built, and I gotta say, it's already looking really, really, really freaking cool. I can't believe it. I love just adding a little bit here and there, and next thing you know, this place starts to look like a real bustling city. It's honestly awe-inspiring to me. This is what I really, really like about drones. Here's our uranium site up here. We've got one uranium node. It's just pumping that uranium into a drone so that I don't have to worry about the radiation too much. I mean, I do have the filter production automated, so that's not too big of a deal, but at the same time, it's nice to localize it so I don't always have to worry about it. You remember all of our prototype towers where essentially we've got a little sort of pantheon sort of setup with the pillars, and then on top of it, we've got a fuel drone plus 4 drone ports. That I've basically taken that, and I've taken that to the max, and anytime I want to build something, I just set one of these up. So right now, this one's set up to receive that uranium ore. It's then taking other components we're already making and then creating encased uranium cells. Those are then flowing on out on overflow in order to create some nuke nobelisks. And right now, you'll see that we actually have quite a few nuke nobelisks. So really excited about that. We're actually moving some of the nobelisks, the standard ones, from over on the armory in the distance back there. So it's just utilizing what we're already producing and bringing them together with the drones. I think it's honestly probably one of the easiest logistical solutions that I could possibly utilize, and I'm all for it. You know, since we're in the middle of Fixmas, it kind of makes sense to participate and keep building upon the things that we have unlocked as we go through the advent calendar. And if you see, we have things like this cane basher, which is a giant candy cane, and there's a lot more that we can unlock. So I went out past the oil islands in order to set up a little bit of a, I guess, Santa's workshop out there. So you might recognize this location. This is in the distance. You can see our aluminum production and our original fuel generator site out here. And we are on the southwest coast of the Rocky Desert, where there are all these pure nodes, and we were setting up for like a computer factory or something like that. Well, in the distance, I found that there was a really pretty pristine island that didn't really have much going on there. So I figured in order to kind of isolate the Christmas work that we'll be doing for the Christmas event, I figured I'd kind of build it out here. So you can see that we've set up some power lines just to get us out there, which I'm actually really excited because since we unlocked those portals, that means it's going to be a lot faster to go back and forth between different work sites. It's just a matter of, I guess, setting up the portals and whatever they need in order to keep them open. This place is gorgeous. I love the waterfalls. I love the coastline. I love the separation, and yet we still have visible distance to the things that we have created. And here we are at Santa's workshop. So essentially what I've done in order to avoid having to constantly get more presents is I've taken 20 Christmas trees, I've hooked them up to mergers, and then they're cramming out 15 per minute of gifts. Those gifts are then being sent through to one split manifold, and then it's sending them out to 3 smelters and 4 constructors. We basically have some red Fixmas more ornaments here, which are outputting at 50 per minute. I've got them summer slooped and I've got them power sharded at the moment just because I want to fill up these bins out here. And then we've got the blue ornaments. We have some Fixmas tree branches. We've got some candy canes. We have bows, and then finally some snow so that we can actually make all these brand new snowmen right over here. So this is just running in the background so that we don't have any issues with building more decorations and trees and stuff like that. And it's very simple, and I tried my best not to destroy the beautiful island out here. I think it's gorgeous. I have to say that when I first came out here, I kept thinking to myself, this world is so huge, and I still think that, but now that I guess we can get height like this and get a different perspective, I really appreciate the fact that I can kind of just see the things that we've created from afar, and it feels like the whole world is being tied together and feels a little more manageable and a little bit smaller, where before it just felt so gargantuan and huge. I feel like this is such a cool event to tie it all together, because then I go around and I place decorations everywhere, and it's just really cool. So so far I'm digging my very first Fixmas. So after this, I ended up finally building some things in the grassy fields. So here we are approaching the grassy fields, and you can see that we've set up a couple more of those, I guess, logistical towers. We're making some ACUs and some turbo motors because those were other holes in my production automation. And I also noticed that when I was putting down a bunch of miners, that I kind of got tired of manually creating a whole stack of the automated miners. So I now have a production out here, which is essentially creating that off of some iron nodes. It doesn't really take too much. It just has a few constructors, smelters, and assemblers, but it's super handy because now I'm completely stacked with these miners and I don't have to worry about ever making them by hand again. I've also got out here another one of these towers in order to create some more of the turbo motors, so you can see that they're all stacked and ready to go, because a lot of what it is that we are working on now, they require turbo motors. So I'm very happy to have that out of the way. And then I've also started work on ACUs. I believe we're going to need these things. So we have a whole bunch of ACUs in here, and we're just doing the same thing. Essentially, just we built a Pantheon style tower with a single machine. And then we've got 4 different, well, I guess in this case we have a little more because I want a pickup point as well. So we've got 6 drone ports, 1 for fuel, 4 for materials, and 1 for a pickup in the middle right there. So let's go ahead and head out over to the power lagoon, because I've also created some additional prerequisites so that we can actually continue to push forward on our tier 9 objectives. So here we are on the outskirts of the power lagoon. I realized looking ahead that I'm actually going to need more fixed site trigons than I'm already producing just for personal use. I actually need them for production purposes. So right here, this facility creates 150 per minute fixed site trigons. It's the same exact principle I've been using with all of the smaller productions. It's just a little bit larger. So we're bringing in iron, we're bringing in caterium, and we're also bringing in additional materials. And then down below, we're passing that into converters. On the right side, they're processing the iron fixed site ingot recipe. On the left, in the gold, these converters are processing the caterium ingot fixed site ingot recipe. And then down below, we have 10 constructors that are all creating 30 per minute fixed site trigon, and that's just being passed through. You can see it being distributed right here on this split, and then they're all being merged together and then being passed up so that we can actually have that as a pickup point on the top in green, and then we can use it for other things. Over here, I've just been going around making small installations. This one, for instance, is about getting more reanimated SAM. So you'll see lots and lots of installations like these, because it's not that we're doing anything too crazy. We're just processing as much of the raw material as possible, sticking it onto drone ports so that it's accessible, and then utilizing it in little other facilities like this one. So instead of one giant massive factory, we've kind of got lots of little tiny factories or outposts all over the place, and the drones make it so easy just to kind of gather that stuff together and then make it all happen. So if we look at the upper right hand corner of the screen, there's 256 AI expansion servers that we need to make in order to complete phase 5. So if we look in the codex, you'll see that we need magnetic field generators. We basically have an operation back at the hub that's creating those. We're going to need superposition oscillators, and we're going to need a neural quantum processor setup, and they take everything in equal quantities in order to create those AI expansion servers. Now, I went ahead and I already produced the superposition oscillators with our brand new quantum encoders. You can see that this thing is very colorful, and from now on, I've kind of been thinking these quantum encoders, I'm going to be putting them on the roof of different buildings because they shoot these gigantic beams into the sky that look like the Northern Lights. I ended up putting glass foundations right here just because I wanted it to seem plausible that these beams are not just shooting through the concrete. So really, in the future, I didn't realize this was going to happen, but I'm going to put these disco generators on the roofs so that I can at least make that look a little nicer. But essentially what we got going on here, we're creating some dark matter crystals using dark matter residue and diamonds. On the bottom, we've got the quantum encoders, and they're working with the particle accelerators in a loop. So essentially, we're taking the dark matter crystals from above. We're pulling in by drone crystal oscillators and alkaline aluminum sheets from the oil islands. And then we're combining it with excited photonic matter, which just comes out of the converters to create superposition oscillators and dark matter residue. And that dark matter residue is passed to the top, which is needed on our particle accelerators to actually create those dark matter crystals. You can see it requires dark matter residue at a much higher rate. So to supplement that, we're using a converter to create that dark matter residue and we need reanimated Sam in order to make that happen. So it's all in a loop. And in order to get the excited photonic matter, we've got one converter just cranking it out right here on the side. So we're creating, 5 and 5. So that's making these right here. These little glitching Rubik's Cubes. So that's why this is all full of superposition oscillators. And that's what we're going to need to make the AI expansion servers, right? So now we're in a spot where the last thing that we need to make are the neural quantum processors. So AI expansion server, and it is 1-to-1. So 4 per minute, we've got 10 per minute. We're going to need the neural quantum processors, and we already have everything else. And then we can actually create our elevator parts, at least one of them, for phase 5. So let's focus on the neural quantum processors, yeah? We're out here at the power lagoon just to take a look at the recipes for the neural quantum processors, but I did want to point out that once we unlock the Mark 6 conveyor belts, we've been able to give our power slug employees a bit of a boost. So if I turn around, you will see that they're now moving in a giant conga line, generating so much electricity and power for us. My gosh, it's positively electric. Look at them go. At first, they were kind of slow, methodical, just doing their thing, but now they're zipping around town. This place is buzzing with action, and that's how we're generating all that power. That's the truth. That's the only truth of the matter. All right, let's go. Well, I love that so much. They look so cool. Every time I get more slugs, I just slam them into this and they make one giant conga line. It's excellent. Oh, and I forgot, I actually made another, I took all of the polymer resin that's being produced from our rocket fuel production, and I'm sending it way out here so you can actually see that it's moving through the water and everything and coming out here in order to create rubber, because we needed rubber for some of the production out in the distance. So that's why it's there. And it's just constantly on standby until we need some more. So that's what that's all about. So either way, I like this area because it's nice, open. It has a lot of power, obviously, because it's where we generate most of our power. And this is kind of where we can whiteboard stuff and figure things out. So if we take a look at the neural quantum processors, they require time crystals, supercomputers, and fixed site trigons. Obviously, we have a pickup point for fixed site trigons, so that's all taken care of. Excited photonic matter is taken care of by converters, and we just need drones to pull in supercomputers and time crystals. So that honestly seems like that's not too bad. So what we can do is just figure out how much of each machine we're going to need, and then we can go out and set that up. So I know in order to create the neural quantum processors, we're going to need quantum encoders. So let's put down one of those, and then this is going to kind of inform us about the ratios that we need, right? So quantum encoders, we've got neural quantum processors, and you can see that we're going to create 3 per minute, right? So we saw that the AI expansion servers had an 8 to 8 per minute amount. So I figure since we're making 10 per minute of the superposition oscillators, the easiest thing to do is just to make something like, let's say like 6 of the neural quantum processors, and then we'll go like 6 and 6. So it'll be a underclocked version of whatever I think the blender or whatever machine is necessary to make those AI expansion servers. So if we make a couple of these so that we can manage 6 of these neural quantum processors, that means we're just going to double this up, right? So we're going to need 30 per minute of time crystals, which we definitely have by drone. We're going to need 6 per minute of supercomputers, which we definitely have by drone. And then we're going to need 90 per minute of fixed site trigon, while we're making 150 per minute. So it's just a matter of the excited photonic matter being passed in, right? And then we need to deal with the dark matter residue. So if we go ahead and take a converter, and this is going to pass in all of our excited photonic matter, we're going to need 150 per minute because we're doubling this down here. So 150 per minute excited photonic matter, honestly, it defaults at 200. So we just have this underclocked at 75%, and it's going to create the exact amount that we need. So that's not a problem. And then we're going to need to deal with 150 per minute of dark matter residue. So I figured the easiest thing to do is to actually turn it into dark matter crystals or something that we can either sync out or use. So that's made in the particle accelerator. And if we look at, let's say, like dark matter crystals, we're going to need diamonds, and we're going to need 150 per minute of dark matter residue. Yeah. So we would just need another drone for diamonds, and then we're totally fine. Now, fortunately, I actually created another diamond setup out here, and it's very, very close by. So if we just head out back to our original oil node that's creating all of our rocket fuel, I've actually set up a couple of particle accelerators right here, making pink diamonds. So, well, I guess in this case they're oil-based diamonds, but the output is 120 per minute of diamonds, and we only need 30 per minute of diamonds to make the dark matter crystals. So, and there's a pickup point for diamonds right here, so we have everything that we need in order to create those neural quantum processors and to handle the byproduct, the dark matter crystals. These are all the machines that we're going to need outside of the drone ports themselves. Now, I remember that I do want to put the quantum encoders on the top. Fortunately, if we zoom on out, you can see that the footprint is very similar, so we could probably get everything into a, let's say, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wide, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, like a 5x6 footprint building, right? Something like that. And then obviously the converter's going to have to hang off the side or something like that. Now it's just a matter of where are we going to set this up. So I think since we have all of the, well, most of the items that we need by drone in this area, it doesn't really matter where we put it, but I figure maybe we'll have it close by-ish. So it makes sense to do it maybe like over on the border of the grassy field. So let's go in and find a suitable location. All right, so we're in a really quiet place way up. You can kind of see in the distance there, that's where we're making our 150 per minute fixed site trigons, and there's our power lagoon. Just along the way in the clouds, is this area where there's a hard disk drive up here. I've actually just cleared the area of, I guess, hostiles, and I figured our setup's going to be small enough. It would be kind of cool to have those giant beams from the quantum encoders just shooting into the sky when we're already in the sky. So I figured what better place to kind of set up than here, because we're close by to all of the resources that we need to bring in. I think it's going to be like 3 or 4 external drone ports outside of the fuel drone port, and we're close to power, so it seemed to make sense to me. So let's go ahead and just clear out a site. We need something like, let's say, 5x6 at a minimum, I believe. That could probably fit right here, or could fit on the top. Maybe, I mean, I guess we could do it right on the top. I mean, that doesn't seem like a bad idea. So let's just go ahead and just clear this area. All right, there we go. That's a lot cleaner. Look at that. That seems like a nice space to work with. So it's kind of cool that when I was going through and getting hard disk drives, we left a power pole here. So all I had to do was hook it up to power, and that lets me to hover around. So I didn't expect to need to do that, but I'm glad that we did. So let's go ahead and start on one of the higher points of this, I guess, like raise. And we'll just draw out, let's say that's 5, right? I think this one is 6x6 at the moment, but I'm just trying to figure out exactly where it is that we want to be. So maybe we don't need to come out this far. And that'll leave us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Although, if I put down the particle accelerator, it'll be kind of cool to figure out whether or not maybe... no, we have enough space. What about the quantum encoders again? It's a little bit short. So maybe that 6x6 does start to make sense. So if I put that back, am I going to be able to fit 2 of those in here? Yes, barely. So maybe we want to have 7x6 now that I'm looking at it. And on that note, maybe we extend out this way, but then we start to kind of get right. We're going to cover up this hard disk drive, this drop pod. We're just going to cover it right up. Yeah. I suppose I could have started a little bit higher, and then we're not going to like break into this raise here. I mean, I could have started even taller per se. Oh, hello. I'm going to fall off here. So I moved the foundation up a little bit. So this is an 8x7, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in length, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in width. So these are going to go on the top, but I kind of wanted to keep these in mind because 2 of these for 1 particle accelerator, they're going to take up more space. And then obviously we're going to have to extend a little more in order to accept more drone ports and stuff like that. But at least as a baseline, I think this is going to be just fine. So let's go ahead and cut those out. We're going to go ahead and start raising the floor a little bit. So we'll go walls, we'll go basic walls, and we'll zoop that up. And then we're going to switch on over to the not asphalt coated concrete foundation. And since we're going to have particle accelerators, which I believe is taken in diamonds and the dark matter residue, I guess I'll just always have 2 basic walls high to pass in. So it's going to be our quote-unquote logistics floor. It's going to help because, you know, we'll have a little more room to maneuver with, and we do have ourselves some converters that we have to work with. So it's going to be nice to have a little bit of extra space, even if the quantum encoders themselves are going to have some hang off and stuff like that. I figure, you know, if we're working with drones, we're already comfortable with a bit of hang off unless you have a different construction method. Let's get our particle accelerator in here. So we're just going to center that as best we can. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And then we'll go like this. There we go. So that's going to be our particle accelerator. And it's going to be creating the dark matter crystals so it can handle the dark matter residue byproduct of the quantum encoders. At that point, we'll want to make sure that we're coming up, I think it's like 4 or 5 walls, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, never mind. No, much taller. I haven't really tried to fit particle accelerators inside of a building. Holy moly. Okay, well, now I know why I have not yet. So I guess that makes sense. How much is this? Does that fit? Yeah, that's okay. How tall is that? Holy crap. How many walls is that? That's 1, 2, 3. Well, let's see. It is 9 walls, 9 basic walls at 4 each. So 36 meters high. Holy crap. Well, I'm going to go ahead and leave that amount of space. And then we're going to create the base of the logistics floor. This really is a tower just because of this one particle accelerator. And the kind of the cool thing, though, is the quantum encoders themselves are very low profile. Like, they don't come up quite a lot, but boy, do they shoot a beautiful, gigantic beam into the sky. And we're going to have 2 gigantic beams just piercing the clouds. I mean, granted, we're already in said clouds, but you know what? It's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous. Look at that. We already have 2 high for our logistics floor. So we're just going to go ahead and go back over to coated concrete. There it is. And we bring that out like 8 or 7. And then we're going to just create our factory floor out here, right? So particle accelerator. And then that's going to handle our dark matter residue. Since the input is on this side, we're going to want our quantum encoders to face that way as well, right? So quantum encoder, let's flip that around. And then we'll just kind of try to split the middle. That seems good enough. And then we'll use control to be close to it. And then I'm just going to take this outside and bring it all the way to the halfway point here. And now we should be splitting this exactly. Yep, look at that. Exactly. So perfect. All right, so we've got our placement of our quantum encoders right here. So now we just have to say we want to make neural quantum processors. We'll just copy that and paste it. And there we go. So it's going to output 75 per minute of dark matter residue. That's 2 of them. And then that's going to merge together. And it's going to create 150 per minute of dark matter residue, which is going to feed in on this side. And it's the exact amount that we need. That's perfect. So we're also going to be creating 30 per minute dark matter crystal, as well as the 6 per minute of the neural quantum processors. So that's kind of cool. I don't mind that at all. It's nice to have something else automated, yeah? Let's go ahead and get rid of these basic walls now that we've got that all measured out. Obviously, we're going to need some converters because the input up here is going to require some excited photonic matter. This is the output. There we go, excited photonic matter. So we're going to need a converter as well. So just for in the meantime, I'm just going to create an extended platform out here, and then we'll figure out what to do. So we just need the machines in place, and this is going to be at 75%. This is at 150 or 75%, and that's going to come out and then feed into both of these. And then we are going to need 3 different drone ports to feed this thing. So basically converter plus 3 drone ports plus 1 drone port for fuel, unless we are using delivery drones or something, but I don't think we'll do that because we got a bunch of pickup points. And then we'll need 1 more drone port over here for diamonds. So essentially we'll need 5 drone ports, make that 7 drone ports in total. Basically a pickup point for the dark matter crystal, a pickup point for the neural quantum processors, 3 drone ports for materials to feed into the quantum encoders, 1 drone port for the diamonds to feed for the dark matter crystal, And then we're going to need 1 drone port for fuel, and that's it. So 7 drone ports, not too bad. We could either have it hang off the building itself, or we could create some towers. Now, the towers that I have in blueprint, currently the drone tower blueprint, this thing really only runs 2 different drone ports per tower. So if I think about that, that's going to be a lot of towers. So I'd rather have the drone ports hanging off the building. So what I'm going to do is, I think, just treat this as the roof, because I don't want to extend it higher and then build on top of these lights, because that's what I tried to avoid last time. Or we could have the drone ports off of the bottom level and then pass the materials up. That will work as well. So maybe that's the easier solution. We'll have things extend off this way because we have some empty space to work with, and then we'll be able to kind of go from there. The footprint of a single drone port is 3 by 2. So essentially this is going to be 1 drone port. We got 1 drone port. We need 7. So let's just extend this all the way out, and we can say that's another, and we'd have to extend it even farther, and that's 3. So we'll be able to do the same thing on the opposite side as well. We'll basically have 3 ports on this side, and then we'll have 1 in the middle just for fuel to split to either side. I think that makes sense. 2, 3, and then we need 1 more on this side, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, like this. There we go. So this is going to be the fuel drone port. So let's go ahead and mark these up. Yeah. So right now we're looking at fuel drone port. I'm going to want drones. Actually, let's place the drones down. I'll get rid of those drones because those will be pickup points. Because there'll be 2 pickup points. 1 for dark matter crystals and 1 for the final product, the neural quantum processors, right? So then we'll start marking up by color. So essentially it's going to be the NQP Skytower. NQP for neural quantum processor. Fuel drone, like that. NQP Skytower fuel drone. There we go. NQP Skytower diamond drone, like that. And this one we can turn into the diamond color of pink. Fixed site trigon drone. And then we've got the time crystal, so NQP Skytower time crystal drone. I'm going to make that color, and the trigon, I think I'll use this one here. It's like orange and yellow. And then what's the last one again? I think I've gone almost all of them, but I don't remember. Supercomputers. Oh, that's right. We need supercomputers as well. So this is going to be NQP Skytower supercomputer drone. Wow, supercomputers. Holy crap. That's like a black and red, let's say. All right, there we go. So that's the assignment right here. And then I guess I can say these are the pickup points. Dark matter crystal, neural quantum processor. And then that color is like, I guess we'll just make it green for output. There we go. Okay, so everything's colored, marked up, looking good. Let's start by getting power to the ports and then calling in the materials, and then we'll go from there. I think that seems to be fair. I mean, I suppose I don't have to hook up the pickup points yet because it's not really necessary. And then we will pass one of these up top so that we can power the quantum processors. And this way everything has some form of power. Great. Yeah, we'll pass one all the way through just to get on the converter. All right, great. So everything's all set. This one is excited photonic matter. That's already doing its thing. I mean, it's not final placement, but... So now let's go ahead and start to get the deliveries. So this one's going to be a pickup fixed site trigon, right? So we're going to Trigon Alley. Forgot I called it that. This is the cool thing is I've made so many things, I've forgotten what they are, and now we're just sort of saying, go get the stuff. And I don't even remember where that stuff is, but I'm glad that I set it up ahead of time. Oh yeah, the land before time. That was what we did a couple of episodes ago. And then we've got our supercomputer pickup. So let's get that going at TODW computers. We're going to have to pass fuel to all of these drones. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark this up as the rocket fuel from the power lagoon. And then this one's going to be the diamonds from the power lagoon as well. So then everything will have been assigned. Pick up diamond. Oh yeah, I called it the black diamond because it's oil, right? Man, this game's so cool. We'll grab our rocket fuel from the dimensional depot just to get these all kick-started. We'll pass these in to incoming. And then it's just a matter of getting these all distributed. Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and have a raise here. That makes sense to me. And then we'll just get the splitter like that. Pass her through. That's going to fuel this and get that started, which is excellent. And then we'll just put a pickup point right here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll just get these splitters on there just to keep it nice and clean and off the ground. Make it easier to receive the goods. And then all we got to do is hook this up like that. Excellent. It'll be kind of interesting to see what we do with all of these. You see how it's kind of futuristic and floating there? It might be kind of a cool effect because I gotta say that they did a really good job with the Mark 6 belts, looking really, really, really futuristic and cool. So I love how they have their emissive colors and stuff like that. And then I suppose we'll also have pickups on this side, although it's not as critical for this side to have all the fuel on the pickup points. But for now, we'll just have that there. And we'll just hook up the one for the diamonds. We're already going to need to supply more rocket fuel until we can get more rocket fuel delivered. So we'll just drop in some more this way and off they go. So that's going to dunk right in. I'm just going to avoid hooking these up yet. I'll just connect them together, but in the future, all I have to do is patch in another Mark 6 conveyor belt there. So all of these should start flying. You can see all the drones took off on this side to go and grab some stuff. We've got fuel drone doing its thing. And now with all of the fuel, the diamond drone is grabbing its stuff. So we're kind of getting that all spooled up and ready to get saturated. We could also have storage bins as well. Do we have enough space here? I mean, I guess we could like cut this short just so that we could have larger storage bins. We could use the one tiered storage bins like this, like the basic storage containers. We don't need a lot because it's not like it's processing a lot at a time. So maybe we'll just use these smaller ones, and I'm going to go ahead and just have them maybe like lined up on this half line right there and like that. There we go. So incoming, we'll pass into that container, incoming, and we'll have incoming like so. There we go. So these are going to be supercomputers, so we'll just color that appropriately. These are going to be the fixed site trigons, so we'll color that appropriate. I'm sorry, not the fixed site trigons, the time crystals. And these are going to be the fixed site trigons like that. So we'll see them fly in. And then we're going to do the same thing for our diamonds. Have that pass right in. And they're going to be pink to receive. And that's receiving everything except for the fuel. But the fuel, it honestly doesn't need that much. So there we go. You can already see some of the trigons passing through. That's excellent. And the other drones seem to have to go farther to get their pickup. So now we just hook them up to their machines. So what do we got here? This is diamonds. So on the pass through, we'll go ahead and grab from below, pass it in, and let's see where that sits. Oh, okay. That's actually not too bad. I mean, it kind of works out. We'll just pass it out this way, and maybe we'll move this back a tad, right? It doesn't have to be that far out. I didn't realize it was going to be that close. So we'll maybe have it right here. It's going to be pink. And then that'll come, I guess. One thing we could do is something like this. And see if that will actually take. I think it might receive it. We'll find out. We'll find out if that shenanigans work, right? Is that accepting? It is. Okay, great. So it's flowing through. That's fantastic. That's a little weird, but that's hidden. And that works. Okay, cool. Let's just color that up. Well, that's done. Don't have to touch that. That's great. Love that solution. So go diamonds input there. And we're going to need dark matter residue. So fortunately, we don't need any converters. It's just completely reliant upon the quantum processors up there to actually deliver. So then up here, we've got the excited photonic matter. It is a gas, so I guess it doesn't really matter if it's kind of off to the side and then it splits. It might be kind of cool to have this on the lower level so that the pipes are being passed in from below, because we don't have to worry about any sort of flow issues because it's not a fluid, it's a gas. So we'll kind of bring this out. Maybe we'll do the whole 3x3 thing, very similar to what we did with the drones. And then we'll just hang off a converter. So maybe we can even just snug it in like that. And that's perfectly half and half, so that's great. And then we'll just have some floor holes. So we'll go logistics, and we're going to grab the pipeline floor hole, and we'll kind of tuck it right on this line right here. And since, yeah, we can get away with pipeline Mark 1s because we don't have to worry about... Oh, hello, that's off. We can get away with pipeline Mark 1s because we don't have to worry about higher throughput than 300 cubic meters, right? Yeah, that's fine. And I believe, I think I went with chrome pipes for photonic matter, so I'll just use chrome pipes here. And then what I can do is just mark this up as the default for the pipes. That way I'm not messing around with it too much. I think for the dark matter residue I used bronze. Yeah, so we'll go like this. It'll come up and it'll go right on the ceiling like so. And then we'll run it across like that. So what that allows us to do is actually look like it mounts on the ceiling, and then we can take the pipeline junction. Maybe we'll do this. We'll come down below and we'll pass it on an L because it's getting in the way. And that'll give me a point to line up on. So we'll kind of do this. There we go. Great. Now we can get rid of this, get rid of that. We'll cut this out. And we just have to hook into this. So perfect. So attach, attach, attach. And then we just get rid of that. And there we go. High five. So that basically sends that 150 cubic meters with the excited photonic matter. And then that's going to start to power through, split it, and it's going to be 75 and 75. So we just have to hook this up to power, and that's going to start producing and saturating. And then these should start to accept it. So you can see it's already starting to kick in and grab what it needs. So that's perfect. That's excellent. So then now we just need to take stuff from the drones. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stockpile. So you can see that we already have some materials passing through. We have supercomputers coming in a little at a time. We've got the time crystals flowing in. We've got the fixed site trigons flowing in. That's excellent. And we can even cover this back up now. There we go. More supercomputers. And I guess we can even extend this a little bit. There we go. And now it's just a matter of passing these upstairs. So I guess the easiest thing to do is just sort of have a reverse waterfall coming up, right? Let's get some conveyor holes. So we'll have 1, we'll have 2, and 3 for all 3. And then we don't have to worry about the tops. We just have a reference point underneath. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Now, this one's a little bit obstructed, unfortunately, right? So what can we do with that? I mean, I suppose I could come off an angle, as weird as that would look. Maybe like this. And then just angle in like that. Is that going to work? That kind of works. Yeah, that works. That's fine. And do we have enough space to bring this down? I think we do. Yeah, we totally do. So that's totally fine. So that works out nicely. So I guess with that one, let's just try to mirror that over here. Pass to the right. And then conveyor belt in. And there we go. Great. So an interesting feed, but that'll do. So let's get 1 out there. 1, 2 click. And then we'll go 1, to click like that. Let's just duplicate that below, and we'll see if we can make that happen. I don't know if that's going to be necessarily easy to do, but we'll try. This is receive. And receive. Receive. So at least those line up. That's great. And if we had to, we'll just pass out this way for now. We'll probably need to adjust the heights, but I just want to make sure that this doesn't look ridiculous or not really doable. This one is a little occluded, so it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we could have it high up and run along the ceiling, and then this one could just feed from the side on the ceiling. And I think that, yeah, that's doable. That's doable. So tell you what, let's go ahead and just loop that around. That's going to be all of our supercomputers. And then this one, I guess the easiest one is to take the fixite trigons and pass it through here. So we can actually color these up already, just the process of elimination. The supercomputers are going to be this color. So there we go. Just, I find it so much easier to work with a color coding, honestly. And then we'll just pass this up back the way it came and then route it all the way on the ceiling. So we'll just do this instead. Bring her around. There it is. Perfect. Excellent. So that's the fixite trigons. Perfect. So we'll just color that up. All right. And then last but not least, we are going to just pass to the left, just like that. Excellent. Oh, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. And then send that right through. There we go. And those are all going to waterfall up. So we'll just make sure that they're color coded. And then the tops, we just need to make sure that they're at the right place, right? So easiest thing to do is to pass the supercomputers through the kind of L-shaped entrance right here. So let's pre-mark them. I guess they're going to have to come down a bit because we need to pass underneath this, right? So I probably want to face it over to the right side like this. And that's mostly so that it's going to pass in that little archway of pipe. Like that. And I think that's not going to clip. Yeah, look at that. That fits right through. That's excellent. So we'll go ahead and pre-color that. And then now we can just turn this to the side so that it can feed. Although, tell you what, we're actually going to use a splitter. And we'll just turn it like this. So we'll capture that and then feed it right into the splitter. Excellent. There we go. And now it flows. Perfect. Perfect. So now it's receiving supercomputers at both of them. Excellent. That is working so nicely. So next, we're going to pass through our time crystals. This one lines up pretty well. So maybe we'll just have them sit here. I guess these are going to be the fixite trigons now that I look at it. Let's bring this one down and feed that way. There we go. I guess they can all be on the ground. The question is, are they going to clip? I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. Yep, they're just fine. They're just fine. Perfect. So we'll need to make sure that this kind of swivels a little bit like that. So those are going to be all of our time crystals. And then last but not least, we've got fixite trigon. And we'll receive from the side like this. Because honestly, we need to kind of maneuver around the other materials. And we'll just feed in like that if we can. I guess we'll diverge and split off to the side. And come it around. There we go. All right, fixite trigon. Excellent. Look at that. And that actually starts that process. Look at that. So now both quantum encoders are kicking on up, creating neural quantum processors. We don't have any of the output to collect, so at least in the meantime, let's see, we are going to want to pass these down, and the green is actually way back here. Makes me think that perhaps, you know, perhaps I'm actually going to switch these. So this is going to be not the dark matter crystal, but this is going to be the neural quantum processors, and then this one is going to be the dark matter crystals, like that. And then we'll just change the colors. It's easy enough, fortunately. That's great. So as far as feeding into here, we just need to see, I mean, it would be nice to have some kind of storage bin. It doesn't matter that they flow exactly on by this port right here. It could be in the middle, maybe align with this ladder. And then we just place a hole right there. And we can receive probably from that side of the machine. And then she's going to flow all the way down. And then we'll place it out this way, and this allows us to put a container to receive and store. We don't have a large quantity of this stuff, so it's not like I'm going to have a full industrial storage container or anything. So I'll just have that there, pass her through, and then we can loop it around and then send that all the way through. We can worry about overflow, about the use of our dimensional depot and stuff like that later, but in the meantime, we just want to make sure that we've got it flowing all the way through to the pickup point, because that's a storage in and of itself. And then we can actually just hook these up to the finished product so that they've got an output and they're not stunted in that regard. So there we go. So let's get that marked up. That's the finished product. That's going to be our neural quantum processor. And then we can merge them out this way. There it is. Look at that. And that's going to send out our neural quantum processors. Excellent. And obviously it cannot continue because it's got a backup of the dark matter residue. So I guess I'll just toss that in there. There we go. They'll fly right by. Okay, so dark matter residue's got to come down below, and then it's going to join up together because it's 75 cubic meters each to make 150 cubic meters, and then we'll pass this through. So let's just have an output that's here. Excellent. And we're going to make it purple to match. And we'll go to floor. And we can have a container to receive all the dark matter crystal. And it's going to go into the feed like that. There we go. So you can already see the neural quantum processors right there all stacked up and ready. Excellent. So these are for our dark matter crystals. That's great. And this has an output of just dark matter crystals. So the only thing that we got to do now, just logistically speaking, is hook up the pipes to bring the dark matter residue down below. And that's it. This thing is cranking. So let's go ahead and get these set up. Oops, that's a little off and a little too tight of a turn. So let's give it a little bit of space. And I guess output, I'm going to go ahead and set the pipes to copper, because I know I used that for the dark matter residue elsewhere. Not that I think it's the best color. I might change that in the future, but it's at least a darker color that I've got that looks a little bit fancy. So there we go. That's dark matter residue. We just need to merge it together, and I suppose we'll pass her down. What's the best way to do this? I guess we'll come up to the ceiling like this, where this hole should be. So let's bump it over till it's straight. There we go. And I'll put that there, and then we'll get a hole there. So we'll lock it in place, line it up from all of the sides, and put that hole, and then we'll drop that out. That's going to allow us to feed this all the way down without problem. I kind of thought maybe I could have it where, I mean, it doesn't need to be that far out now that I think about it, but at least we know that it's on the right it's the right idea. And then we'll just kind of eyeball it, bring that there. And pass her down. And it's probably a little bit cleaner, a little bit tighter. I thought about moving the pipe elsewhere and then passing it through, but you know what? That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So what we can do is just bring this to the ground like that. I love the purple that it's got going on. And then put the junction on it and line up with the mount. There it is. Now we'll cut these all out, reattach them, and we should be good to go. So this is going to be the merged in 150 cubic meter amount, and then we're just going to pass this up to the 75 cubic meter source, and we're going to do the same on this side. And there it is. She is complete. High five. Look at that. So at least functionally speaking, obviously this is a bit of a doohickey mess, but functionally speaking, this should go. Take a look at those gigantic beams out there, and she's flowing. So we've got time crystal, supercomputer, fixed site, trigon, excited photonic matter, and we're cranking out neural quantum processors at 6 per minute. We've got 75 cubic meters of dark matter residue out of both of these for a total of 150 cubic meters of dark matter residue, which is then being merged together and piped on down. That's allowing us to create the dark matter crystals. There it is, 98% so far as it saturates and gets going. And they're outputting 30 per minute of the dark matter crystals just like this. All we need is a little bit of power so that they'll start to bring those into the pickup ports. So we'll just go like this. And they flow. And there is the finished logistical, I guess, setup. Although, I mean, I guess having some type of overflow in place, like for the dark matter crystals and for the, basically for both the products, for both the neural quantum processors and the dark matter crystal, is going to be pretty important. It's actually tall enough. Very rarely do I find is it tall enough for me to actually have an awesome sink inside of a building, but heck, why the heck not? Place that smack dab in the middle like this, and then we can mark that up as red, and then we'll just get that set so that that's already prepped and ready to go, and we don't have to worry about it. And I'll just bring that all the way down, put a merge on it, color it up. I like having it before it delivers the product right on the lift itself because it's pretty easy. It just snaps right on there. And then we'll just have the pass through. And then we'll have overflow to the right. And then this one's going to be overflow to the right. We'll go ahead and mark up the smart splitters as red. Just going to fly on in. And then this is just going to loop around like that. So red, there she goes. Perfect. All right, so now we actually have overflow for the products. We have some buffers, small buffers, because it's not really making a lot per minute. And we've got all the inputs, the fuel, everything. And there she is. She's flowing. Excellent. So all that's left is to kind of gussy this up and make it look like a building. All right, so here is our new NQP Skytower. That's right. So as you can see, it's just been colored up. It's got all of its beautiful drone ports. They're suspended. The whole building itself is just slammed out from a bunch of scaffolding. And then all the colors, the beautiful colors, are coming on up. I've even thrown in a satellite portal right here. So this is the first one of its kind. It's not linked up to anything, so I need to hook it up to a main portal. I guess I'll put all the main portals probably in our main Fancy Factory village, and that'll allow us to teleport right here, climb on up, get to the top, do any maintenance, whatever it is that we need to do, and yeah, just get here very, very quickly. This is very, very high up, so it seemed to make sense to me. That is our NQP Skytower, so I'm very, very excited about that. All of the satellite operations are finally coming together in order to allow us to create all of the things that we need to for our tier 9 products. The nice thing is that now we are creating superposition oscillators. We're also creating the neural quantum processors. I have to like remember what they're called. And then we can put those two together in order to create the AI expansion servers and finally start to take off on some of the phase 5 objectives. So overall, I'm really happy with the result. If you enjoyed the episode, please feel free to like, share, or comment down below. It helps us a great deal. I had a total blast. I hope you did as well. And I can't wait to get into the next one with you. Have a wonderful night.